And we're going to cut it right there. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the College Football Mafia Network Big Freakin Friday Show. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown, and with me are my co-hosts for tonight. We're going to have WildUte's going to be joining us in a little while, but I want to introduce Moen and Rock and Rant. How you guys doing tonight?
Tubular.
Doing great.
You guys sound so energetic.
Well, I didn't want to, step over Moen already on the first one, so
That's all right.
I was deferring to the royalty.
Oh, there we go. Fair enough. I appreciate you being here, Rock. It's going to be a fun
Absolutely.
night. We're going to talk news and some other things, so it should be a good one for content. I want to thank everybody for being here on a Friday night. Hopefully, this is becoming a habit for you. Every Friday night, we come to you 7 p.m. Eastern. We're usually here for a couple hours. We talk news, everything about college football. We talk about our own schools. We talk about things that are going on in the wider legislative world and lawsuits. And so if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you're new to us as individuals, you can find us all on Twitter. And, I don't think there's any other thing that we don't do to try to reach out to people. Moen, tell us what you're dressed as tonight.
This is what I wear every day, Bomber.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And Rock, have you been out exercising? What's your dress mode today?
I'm gonna run out as soon as we get off of this call, unless there's too many Georgia Tech posts in there, in which case I will be running to the bed.
Okay, yes. So let's talk about that drinking game tonight. Georgia Tech, and are we going to throw in Syracuse?
We're throwing in Syracuse.
Okay, so we're following Moen's direction now. So let me put that in a banner, actually. The new drinking game is, let me make sure I get this right. We're going to go Syracuse. Sorry, we're going to go Georgia Tech first, right?
Georgia Tech, Syracuse.
Tech,
and it has to be organic, people.
Oh, that's right.
Just type Georgia Tech and get
That's right. That's right.
It's if Georgia Tech or Syracuse come up.
Is this a liquor beer thing though? Like, is one of them like liquor before beer kind of mode, and like which one is which, or is somebody a wine cooler? Like, what's the deal?
Actually, I get that.
I drink liquor. Now, you will drink an IPA or wine.
Ute's more sophisticated than all of us.
Yes,
though. He is more sophisticated.
So, whatever your desired poison is.
All right. Correct me here. Is it Georgia Tech? GEOR.
GIA.
GIA. Okay. All right. I'm just going to make sure I get that right. We're going to put that in the, there we go. Drinking game. So everybody knows. Again, follow us all on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and turn on those notifications. That's the most important step. That way, you know when our show is going to come on. If you're here and you're spending your time with us, you might as well hit that thumbs up. That's really important to us. It helps us on the YouTube analytics. And there's some Twitter connection there too. So we appreciate everybody who does that and contributes to what we are doing here. We are going to wait for Ute for just a little bit. So there's a lot of news that I don't want to skip without him. But let's just start where we are tonight. Oh, wait, I jumped ahead 2 things. Let's do some hellos to start off a little bit early tonight. Normally I do that a little bit later, but let's get the guys who are in the door first. Let's see here. So Ryan Willie, first guy in. Good to see you, Ryan Willie, member. Timothy Green says, good evening, college football fans. Can't wait for the show. Big football. Thank you very much, Timothy. David Hackett, one of the OGs, says, it's Friday with Bomber, Moen, WildUte, and hopefully Immaculate. Great shows, informative and entertaining. As we explained last week, Immaculate's doing some of his own stuff right now. Certainly can come back to the show whenever he wants. But we got Rock and Rant here, and he's going to be playing a pretty big part in what we're doing with the channel moving forward. So I want everybody to get to know him, give him a big hug and a kiss, and let him know he's welcome. Let's see here. Sergeant Pickles, one of our contributors, says, good evening, all. Thank you for being here, Pickles. Always good to see you. Bottoms up and bow down. He's talking about bow down to the Huskies. Everybody knows that. All right. Chad Bracey says, yo, Daniel Gygax says, hey, everyone. These are all members, by the way, people. I'll tell you how to become a member in just a second. TF Williams, good evening, everyone. Go Knowles, boy. The Noles sort of they're in the news the last couple days, guys. We're in a little bit of a holding pattern with Florida State. What do you guys think's really going on in the back rooms for settlement talks at Florida State? Do you guys think anything's going on between that and ACC?
Sorry, my dogs were barking there, so I had to do a mute for there. So, Moen, take it first.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if settlement talks are going on or not. I mean, at this point, I think the ACC is going to fight them tooth and nail and everything. They can't afford to lose them. It's just they can't afford to lose. So I think settlement's out of the question right now. Now, if that ESPN document, if there's a threat of that ESPN document becoming public under Florida's sunshine laws, I think at that point, ESPN might force them to come to the table and do some kind of settlement.
Okay. What do you think, Raw?
I mean, I don't know that there's not settlement talks going on, right? It's unlikely, but we do know at least that Clemson alluded that there was at least conversations between them. So whether they all stopped, whether Florida State never began, I don't know if anybody really knows. Public posturing and taking the most extremes doesn't necessarily indicate what's really happening. Though right now it seems like they're way into we're gonna aim for the complete destruction of our opponent mode versus let's figure out how we can go to the United Nations and figure this out.
I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, you're right. You never know if talks are going on. That was sort of an open-ended question with a trap in it. Didn't need to be. I was just trying to think, we're seeing a lot of stuff in the news on the judicial side, on rulings in North Carolina and in Florida. We haven't heard anything about talks. I got thinking about this today on my own when I was reflecting on some stuff to talk about. And I think that lack of noise says something. So I'm with Moen. I don't think that the conference wants to settle at all, but the big boomer over the top of them is the exposure of the ESPN contract, and if that happens, all bets are off. So I think maybe there is the lack of conversation speaks more to me than if we were hearing leaks. Anyway, what do you guys think? Anything of that? Just follow up.
I just think that is a broad stroke, right? Whether it's things that we are all super interested in like this or world peace conversations, they always seem the worst when things are appearance wise they seem horrible when there's actually possibly a movement because people are trying to lock in their bargaining position. But that's what's half the fun is speculating what we don't know about with informed takes that could be either wildly right or completely wrong.
I like being right all the time. That's my thing. Really quick, I'm going to show everybody how you become a member of the College Football Mafia Network family.
Want to become a member of the College Football Mafia family? Simply select the Join button from our homepage. There are several options with their own unique benefits to choose from. You can also set yourself to auto-accept gifted membership by selecting the gift settings options as shown.
I appreciate Moen for putting that video together. It was fantastic, and we really are doing a bunch of fun things for you guys. I'm telling you right now, I'm working with Rock. We're going to try to get our shows out on podcasts. Jim Williams gave us the ability to do it, and so I've been working on the back end with Rock to see if we can't get some of these shows converted. Can you do a quick? And there's only 38 people watching right now. It's early in the evening, Moen. Would you mind putting out a poll that says that people would like or not like to see a podcast edition of our shows once we have them produced? Moen?
I can. Hold on.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. I just did. I can't tell if you're moving or not behind that outfit. I can't.
Because it's camouflaged.
It is. I was camouflaged. True.
I mean, I'm personally biased. I would have, if I didn't have YouTube Premium, I would absolutely have appreciated having the podcast. At least with, if you have YouTube Premium, you can listen to audio in the background.
Right.
But all the shows that I used to love on YouTube, I love when they duplicated it. So hopefully a lot of people will want that and we can make it happen.
I've heard another complaint I've heard is that it kills people's batteries on their phone. They would love to listen to the whole show, but their phones die because it's only on YouTube. So I think that's certainly something to consider. We're going to try it. If it doesn't work, whatever. But I'd really like to have that poll to see if people think there's value in that. Anyway, let's keep going here. Timothy Green says Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Syracuse. I'm not sure that's organic. Is that
It was
That's
organic?
not
totally
organic.
organic. It was.
But-
He was just leaning on his keyboard. It was totally organic.
But since it's Timothy Green and he's a longtime fan and member,
Let's go.
I will have one for him.
And do we have a sounder? We can put it out for him too, Moen, maybe.
Sure. Let's see.
Okay. Let's do something fun. It's Friday night, actually. Big freaking Fridays. I've got the energy.
When people ask why you drink so much whiskey, it's actually because you have a genetic condition that your body doesn't produce its own alcohol. Therefore, you're forced to take a supplement.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's keep going. Daniel Gygax, pimpin' Moen. Moen is pimpin'. I love that. Mr. Monkey says, hey all. Illini Ted, hello all. I'm trying to catch all these ones. Here we go. Becky Go Huskies, another contributor, says, hello, everyone. Becky, I got the last link for the article you put out in our chat on Twitter. I'm going to be using that as a reference for one of our stories. So thank you very much for doing that work. Let's see. Illini Ted says it makes sense that the game is Georgia Tech and Syracuse because watching them play makes me feel like drinking. I like that. That's really good. Very creative. Let's see here. TF Williams says, hey, Rock and Rant. So we're getting some love for Rock and Rant in there. I really like that. MH5, it's been a minute, MH5. Thanks for coming back. We appreciate seeing you. Says ACC cannot let the settlement be less than 200 million. It has to be a number that will deter more defections. Yeah. Did you catch our show, MH5? There's a show we did last week or week and a half ago that's specifically on that. And the payout number, I would say, is considerably higher for them to have to do to even stay alive. But check out that video. Maybe we'll post that link. In fact,
Just
Rob,
go to the homepage. Just go to the
There you go.
homepage. Go to the homepage. It's the top video.
there. Oh, that's right. We moved it. That's right. Excellent. Thank you, Moen. Daniel Gygax says, you put the money that FSU and Clemson needed to pay to make the ACC whole. No way it's going to be that much. As for leaks, I don't think the ACC, FSU, UNC, Clemson are currently talking. So,
Well, we
let's
know
see.
North Carolina's not talking.
Yeah, for a fact.
For
They're
a
not
fact.
talking to each other even. Tumasta, a member. Good to have you here, Tumasta. Says Syracuse. What is that little icon?
Looks like a needle.
It does look like a needle. I don't know what that means. So maybe there's a joke in there I'm missing.
Maybe
Cougar,
to puncture the carrier dome tarp on the top. I'm not sure how that state roof is done.
maybe. Cleared up with a comment there. Cougar Tracks, another member. He's been around a long, long time. Became a gift member just I think a week ago. Cougar Tracks, thanks for being here. He says hello all. BR back in the house says go Pokes, beat Utah too early. I don't think it's too early. It's never too early to say beat Utah. I am rooting for Georgia Tech to the Big 12, but very organic.
Whatever, Kay.
Let me think about that for a second. Is maybe the ultimate arbiter. I mean, there was a conversation we had months ago where Georgia Tech could be like a throw-in pick to the Big 12. You don't
Seen Kay around here before, so I'm going to give it to him.
okay. All right. Kay wasn't on the show, so we're going to assume that wasn't organic. All right. Let's see here. Scrappin' Wolf says, I think there are talks going on. There you go. And Marcus Williams says, hey to you, Marcus. Thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate it. We did have an answer back from MH5. He says, I will have to check that out. Thanks. You all have to check it out. It's a great video. Easy to get to and fills a lot of information in and provides answers that nobody else is providing, by the way. We're the only ones doing this type of analysis. Last but not least, Jeff Woodworth. When is EA Sports going to come up with a college commissioner game? Can you build the best league? Who can backstab their partners to achieve ultimate victory? You could also call it the Ohio State runs college football game.
I mean, I think that they have already built a GM game, right? Because
They
the
did.
Louisville NIL guys seem to be fighting amongst each other over who is the best GM in their NIL. So I think we have the donors being the GMs of the program. That's been built for EA. Now we got to figure out the commissioner side. Though it depends. If you're the ACC, you probably don't want a commissioner if you're going to get Jim Phillips out of it.
Right,
Boy.
and we don't know all the features and everything in the college football game that were the reveal that was released today. So
Yeah, they just put a
They
few
just-
out later in the day, but not all of them.
yeah, they just tickled our ass with a feather. But I have issues with the reveal. One, it's like Ohio State defensive guys getting embarrassed by Donovan Edwards, and then it's got Illinois beating Ohio State 52-42. Burt Bielema coming up with an offense that could score 52 points. Please.
Oh boy, I touched a nerve. I didn't realize we were going to get emotion out of the video game. That's interesting. Get some more shout outs. Rock Chalk 94. Hey guys, all these people are just coming in the door now. We're 7:15 on the East Coast. We appreciate everybody being here. We're just doing some shout outs before we dive into the news. Ute's going to join us here in a little while. Antoine Code says, can't wait until Wild Ute does his Syracuse analysis. Yep. We're going to do that. That's coming. Let's see. Cougar Tracks again says, I get George Kliavkov. Okay, he's your commissioner. That's funny. And last but not least, DP, the Clemson rep, is in here saying, hey, guys, good to see you here, DP. Loved you being on Coos Corner last night. That was a lot of fun. If you guys missed it, we did a show. Me and you did a show with Justin Coos on Coos Corner, and it was a lot of fun last night. We had a ball. All right. I think we're through all the shout outs.
Can we do one additional real quick? Can we just
absolutely.
do a double shout out to Illini, Ted, thanking him for all the help you're giving us on Discord, both like moderating when we have stuff going on, as well as posting articles and assisting. So one reminder to everybody to join the Discord, and especially as we get into the EA game season, it's going to kick in and we'll figure out things to do there, but also just generally to keep the conversation going off. So thanks to Ted for that.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Can I do a shout out too?
Do it.
Last night we released Virginia Tech to the Big 12, WildUte University. It's in the members section. By all means, check it out. We've had a lot of people question Virginia Tech to the Big 12. Now you have your answer. So, and he did that in conjunction with Coos as well. So definitely check that out in the members only section. That just went up yesterday.
So we're gonna dive right into that and show people where that is on our main page, because that's really important to us. We want to share as much as we can with the people that maybe are new to the channel or something like that. So this is our main college. And let me take off that banner. There we go. This is a main page, College Football Mafia. What I did is I clicked this membership button, and what it does is it takes you to our videos that are in our members section. Right now, this is the one Moen was just talking about, WildUte University Hokie Horror. That's an interesting name. Once you watch the video, you'll understand what that means. We have others in here. Coos Corner, should expansion, Big 12 add Duke if the ACC implodes. Another one, WildUte University, NC State fits the Big 12, right? That's a statement, and then it's a question. And then let's get to the two down here. Moen, you're in the house. Tell everybody what the timeline is.
That's an alternative history. I take a point in time in college football and ask, what if?
They're really fun. If you're a little bit older, long in the tooth, you'll appreciate it a little bit more because it does go through some history. If you're less than 20 years old, it might be tough to understand.
You won't. It won't be. The next one won't be tough to understand. It's Pac 16.
Oh, there we go.
If the Pac actually survives, they would actually be able to survive if they had just taken Texas, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Last one I wanted to mention was this Moen Rants. Moen, what was that?
I got loaded and cursed out Jack Swarbrick.
Jack Swarbrick. I love it. All right. So this is how you get there. You go to the main page, home, and you go to the membership section, and then you find these videos. If you're a new member, that's how you do it. If you're not a new member, please consider joining and becoming a member of the Mafia. We do a lot of work here for people, and these locked videos are the best that's out there. So I just want to make sure everybody knows we're doing those things, and they're there. All right. Are we done with shout outs? I think there was two more I marked. Let's see here. I did. So Joey Z. Wow. Okay. First, let's do this. Carrie Go Knowles in the house. Bang. Let's get the sounder. I
Let
love
him
it.
cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said, let him cook.
I love
Thank
it.
you, Carrie.
And Moen, explain what those are.
Those are gifted memberships to the community. These people can now go to the member section or wait till after the show after the show, they can go to the members section and watch all those videos. And that's Buckshot Kid, Morris Simmons, Dan Miter, Kenneth Maynor, and Mosito X. Make sure you guys all thank Kerry Go Knowles in the chat if you received one of those memberships. Kerry Go Knowles, we thank you. I'll give you another sounder one more time.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
I love it. Thanks, Moen, putting that together. By the way, I wanted to let everybody know if you've received a gift membership, consider giving somebody else a membership. Pay it forward. I know good things will come to you, and certainly the bigger and wider our Mafia family, the more people we can get the message out to, and it really helps. So consider becoming a member by gifting a membership. All right. Thank you so much, Carrie. I really, really appreciate it. Let's get, so I was going to do some last shout outs and they keep coming. Don in Kansas. Hey, College Football Mafia. Good to see you, Don. Let's see here. And I want to make sure we call this one out too. Very happy to help, Rock and Rant. So you got that shout out, Rock. Timothy Green says, Bomber, you had a great show last night with Coos and WildUte. Thank you for the feedback. Timothy, we really appreciate it. Joey Z in the house member says, happy Friday Mafia family. Sorry, he corrected it. Thank you so much, Joey. Or Joe. Sorry, I always put the Y on the end for some reason. Illini Ted says we are less than 100 days to week 0. Can you guys believe that? 100 days.
Let's see what Keith Jackson says.
We're gonna play football. Yippee!
Talk about OGs. He is definitely the boy, Keith Jackson.
Greatest of all time.
In my opinion. Yeah. Are there any new ones here? Illini Ted says, Moen, I think you need to get a chef's hat to put on for your let him cook sounder. Hey, there's a good idea.
Problem is the tall hats don't fit in frame.
That's true. It's true. Joey Z says, Kerry Go Knowles kicking ass and taking names. Thank you very much, Joe. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Michelle Weintraub says, hi, everyone. Kerry says, Jay-Z, what's up? We just keep getting these new people coming in. Anyway, all right.
Three-card Bonnie.
Let's do the first story I wanted to do is the video game, right? And you guys sent me the link. Give me 1 second, and I'll bring that up. Let's see. Oh, I'll grab Moen's just because it's right there. This is the opening video. We can't show that, can we, Moen?
I don't know.
Trailer.
It's fair use, but the automated systems at YouTube.
Yeah, I think we might get kicked. Let me look at this other one.
Usually movie trailers are cleared. I just don't know about game trailers.
Yeah, well, I think EA is going to lock down everything. So you guys both sent me the same link. That's fantastic. All right, well, let's just talk about it then. So today, the video for the game, NCAA 25, college football. I don't even know what it's called.
It's called EA College Football 25.
EA College Football 25.
The NCAA doesn't have anything to do with it.
Okay. All right. Let's NCAA needs to be fired anyway. Okay. So, what'd you guys think about the trailer? For one thing, the opening field was the blue field in Boise. What'd you think about that?
They made it obvious without making it obvious. Like, it's one thing that everybody knows versus a green field and a wider shot of a logo. So I guess like the T's just gave them a shout out for doing something unique on fields that most people hadn't done. So, considering the plight of the non P2s or P4s, all the publicity is great.
If anybody deserves it, it's Boise State. They've done the hard work in the last 25 years. Moen, what'd you think about when you first saw the video? Tell everybody where your frustration is.
Well, one, the only time Ohio State's featured, and I don't know why this is, Ohio State's getting beat on every play. Donovan Edwards shakes a defender and makes a long run. And then you see Illinois holding up the Illybo Trophy, and they won 52-42. It's like there's no way Burt Bielema's got an offense that scores 52 points. And the defense would have to score 39 of those points.
Yeah.
That's the only way possible. So I take exception to that. I take exception to no love for Ohio State. And they got love for Notre Dame in there, too. They're showing Notre Dame hitting the sign. You don't see any script Ohio. You saw the Pittsburgh band out there Why wasn't the best damn marching band in the land out there doing Script, Ohio? That's
Yeah,
what you should have seen.
Okay, look, my biggest deal is the I don't care how they cut it or anything else. I'm just glad to watch a Utah defense give up another touchdown. That's all I care about. That's an empty joke without Ute here. He'll probably like it because BYU was on the poster and Utah made it onto the trailer. So I guess it's 50-50.
Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter today are like, "Well, I got to buy a system to play this game." So,
well, that's a good question. Are you guys going to do that?
I've already got a system, so I've got
Okay.
Xbox X. So
I definitely know a lot of people are going to do it. I think a lot were waiting to get confirmation from what I read, and it might just be that they didn't know what was already out there about whether or not you could be able to play Friends on cross-platform from Xbox to PS5. And now that it's out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you can do that. I think people are either getting the favorite platform because they don't have to choose based off of their history, or knowing they don't need to because they can play whoever they want wherever.
I thought maybe I have this wrong. I thought there was a question still about cross-platform play. Has that
I
been confirmed?
I saw a post later that I thought said that it was cross-platform, but that could be wrong. So
no, it's confirmed. It's cross-platform. You can play somebody on PlayStation in certain modes.
Okay,
like some locked modes,
like league modes and stuff. So you can be
but I think playing against each other is fine. I think there's like 3 modes that they allow it in.
So this is my biggest. I just don't know why they don't do it on PC. Their excuse is it costs a lot more money to port it. But at the end of the day, I think it's just because PC players generally kick consoles' asses when they're competing. Do you guys have an opinion about that?
It's just the work versus the profit, right? Like ultimately probably for there. Whereas, people who are playing in the games that really lend themselves and almost require PCs, that's where those are such hardcore gamers that they have no choice but to maximize the game by being on the PC. And we got Twitch and Discord and all those kind of tools that everybody now knows about. It's greed. It's greed and simplicity. If they have to one day, they'll do it. If they think they can find more money, they'll do it. If they think they could beat P2 by getting on PC, they'll do it.
Okay.
They probably just run the numbers and haven't, and don't want to do the development yet.
So this is what I'm going to do. I've already made up my mind. When we get closer and the actually game will be released, if I can get somebody to buy the game for me, I'll invest in a console. The last console I bought was a it was a Xbox One, maybe
360. Oh,
no,
okay.
maybe it was a 360. Anyways, my kids have the PS4s and the others, but certainly I don't have the latest generation. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, look, if somebody will buy me that, what's the like the $100 thing, I'll go out and I'll spend $400 or what is the console price anyway?
You can
Xbox,
get used for
you can get brand new 300 or 500 because they have 2 different models.
Okay. Do you think they're going to do an NCAA one with the game, like sell it as a package?
I think they'll probably will. I think they will. Okay. They'll have a skinned console and everything else for it.
All right. So that's probably what I'll do is I'll buy the package, and then you know what? I might only play it once, but I will play. I think what we want to get into on Discord, correct me if I'm wrong, we've talked about this, Rock, about people coming in and competing in Discord, using that as the sort of chat engine to associate and maybe put some leagues together, right? Isn't that what?
Yeah, we have to figure out what now that they're announcing things, we have to be able to figure out what can or can't happen, as we were alluding to in terms of like the modes and what people's interest level is. But for sure, there's obviously a ton of other stuff you can do just with Sims and everything, and previewing games ahead of time and the content side of the equation. But I think those are probably good polls and things to do in future episodes once we get a little bit more information and digest it all and how we pull it all together.
Okay.
Another great reason to join the Discord.
And that's what that's one of the things we would use to drive membership there, right? Is if we look, I will do almost anything for you guys that are watching. I've tried to put as much stuff up behind me as I can to get people to be involved in the show. And if there's a league or something that I need to be in to represent what we do here and play in a league just for that, I'll probably do it. I just don't have a lot of time. I know you guys are busy too, but it's not like I can be running a commissioner or anything like that. I just want to show up and play.
There you
Anyway. All right. Anything else about the release? Was there any other shocking stuff? When you gets here, I'll ask his opinion. He'll probably have something to say, but
I love the tradition aspect of it. They showed a
Right.
lot of the traditions. I don't know if those are going to be. It says using in-game engine, et cetera, et cetera. I hope to see that. I hope when you're playing Clemson, you go down and rub the rock. I hope when you're playing as Notre Dame, you go and you hit the sign that says "Win today." I hope all that stuff is included. I know they showed it. I hope that's just not in the trailer.
Right.
I hope that's
That's
in
so
the
much.
game.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. As we know, trailers for video games especially are used and abused all the time just for that reason.
Yeah.
They'll promote something and then it'll just disappear. Rock has some experience in that, so I think he can probably speak in first person about how that works. All right. Okay, let's move on then. We'll give you an opportunity to get his opinion about that, but I don't want to dwell on it. Next story I want to cover. This is an article from Ross Dellinger. I took it off of bring it up here. Took it off of Twitter. Dang it, I can't make it any bigger, can I? There's a little bigger. I'll just read it. I apologize if you can't see it. It says, let me take the link for the article. We always give credit where credit's due. This is Ross Dellinger tweet on Twitter. Sorry. Message on Twitter. There you go. You can find it yourselves. As part of the House settlement, P5 schools are responsible for 40% of the $2.77 billion in damages. 17%, and we're talking in total now, so everybody knows. 17 would be paid by the G5, and 2% for the other Division I schools, which would be independents, I guess. And then it lays out there's some dollar amounts that are proposed. We could quickly talk about those. The expenses would be for 24 each school. Then 1910 liabilities. I don't know what the 1910 is. Do you guys know what the 1910 represents? No. Okay.
I do
I
not.
have no idea
Okay.
what 1910 means.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm looking over here on the side and it doesn't really spell it out. Bottom line is you're talking in the millions of dollars for some of these settlement costs. The other article I want to pop up is this is a note from Pete Thamel. Shortly after that was released by Ross Dellinger, he puts this out and he says, the NCAA sent out a memo on Thursday to all the Division I conferences detailing the changes in revenue distribution by conference in future NCAA tournament payouts. I replied, and I don't know if there's been a few, actually, Pete Thamel, let's do this live, right? This is cool, actually. So I replied, Pete Thamel, so I'm reading this correctly. The NCAA is going to hold back NCAA tournament dollars to help pay for the House settlement. From where does the NCAA have the authority to do this? This is my question. Is it simply by fiat, like what the ACC did with the ESPN? What are the schools paying? And then it's just another couple words here. What are the schools paying directly? Let me go back. Pete Thamel, I apologize. Pete Thamel didn't reply it. I read that wrong. All right. Colonel, who's usually trusted, says the conferences are named defendants in these cases and have negotiated with the plaintiffs alongside the NCAA for this outcome. This isn't a surprise. The A5 have known this was coming for a while. All right. So how do you use basketball money to pay for football expense? You guys answer that for me?
It's all crazy, right? Like just in a broad sense. And I know it's not the same, and you maybe knows, or maybe there's a future analysis of what the whole pie of revenue that is being allocated to pay for all these settlements and by division 1, 2, and 3, et cetera. You got to figure if it's not a 90, 10, 80, 20 rule, it's probably more like a 98% of all of the revenue that comes in from NCAA stuff is probably going towards the Division I schools, yet that's actually not how all of the schools are seemingly being impacted, even though most of it is still going against the P2, let alone basketball school. Like, how is this impacting basketball schools that don't have football programs? Like, are they in effect disproportionately paying into solving this problem?
Nolan, what do you think?
Well, for starters, the NCAA, the only thing they really make money on is the tournament.
Right.
There's no other money for them to pay with.
Right.
In addition, this isn't just for football. This is for all NIL cases, all NIL athletes moving forward. And that includes basketball players too.
Okay. Does it cover the low cross team?
if there's NIL involved.
Okay.
That's the thing. If there's NIL involved, you got to be a revenue generating sport, I think, before they'll cover it. So,
Okay.
but I think, yeah, that's how the NCAA is paying their portion, is holding back basketball credits. They obviously can't hold back ones that have already been paid. So these are future credits.
Right.
People are going to be playing for less the next few years. But for some schools, that's going to be hard because a lot of schools depend on them NCAA tournament credits.
They do.
Especially
Some use
some of
them for
these
their
smaller,
right.
yeah, these smaller schools that are always winning their conference tend to depend on, or include that in their budget. That, hey, we're going to make the tournament and make X amount of dollars. So
We're sticking about Gonzaga right now, right?
Totally,
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga, right?
Yeah.
Not so much UConn, but in reality. But if like St. John's or some other school, Creighton, right? Things like that.
Yeah. I'm just so confused. And I read through. Pete Thamel was very direct. He tried to put as much information out there as possible. And this is, by the way, this isn't all approved yet, right? They're still doing the settlement talks. And as far as I know, this is something that they sent to the conferences to basically get them prepared to take it. Where could this settlement break down, or is it a done deal?
It can break down if Congress doesn't get involved.
Explain that, Bowen.
They need an antitrust exemption.
Right.
Because if they don't have an antitrust exemption, they're going to keep getting sued over and over and over again. So
but that's breakdown after the fact, right? I mean, ultimately, because it seems like they're having to agree to this in the next 2 weeks. So the settlement's going to be done. The breakdown's it's not going to break down and not happen, right? It seems like if it's going to break down, it's going to be after they've already agreed and the Congress doesn't do something.
Right. We're going to have to see the players are going to have to come forward. I mean, if I'm a player, I'm not accepting this. I want collective bargaining.
Okay.
I don't
without
want you
being
to
employees.
Right. But
okay.
I mean, I don't want to just set with your number.
Right.
If I can make 5 or 6 million, I deserve to make 5 or 6 million.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, there's some players out there that can command that,
Unfortunately, and that's what breaks the market. Anyway, WildUte in the house.
What is up?
How we doing?
Happy Friday. Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Syracuse. Bottoms up. It's Big Freakin Friday, guys.
Let's go. So I'm glad you're in the house
Let's
finally. Thanks for joining us. We did put up the drinking game banner so everybody knows what the rules are. We're also saying it has to be organic, right? You can't just walk in and say Georgia Tech and Syracuse and expect to get instant response. So we talked about that already. Let's get back. We'll jump back on the EA Sports game, but right now we're in the middle of the House versus NCAA. What a mess this settlement looks like it's going to be. Did you have some time to read some of those settlement settlement articles that came out today?
Just the $20 to $30 million per school per year, just a little bit of chump change. Are we talking about in the House versus NCAA case? No settlement. No settlement.
No, you don't want a settlement.
No settlement.
Just nothing. You don't want anything.
Let's treat this like the ACC is going to treat it. With
All
Florida
right.
State and Clemson. No settlement. We'll just take this to the bitter end. No, I'm not going to shell out $30 million per year.
So there was a follow-up article put out today. In fact, let me just bring it up so you can see it from Pete Thamel. Let me show you. And I'm responding to his. Pete Thamel said the NCAA sent out a memo on Thursday to all Division I conferences detailing the changes in revenue distribution by conference in future tournament payouts. Ross Dellinger followed that up with, as part of the House settlement, P5 schools are responsible for 40% of the $2.77 billion in damages, 17% for G5, and 2% for other schools. I would think that would be all the independents. As previously reported, schools pay 60% of the 60%, and NCAA pays 40% over a 10-year settlement, as shown in the obtained document. We can't read that, so I'll give you the link, and you can go back and do some analysis on it for us. But right here, this is the line: schools are going to pay 60%, and the NCAA pays 40%. If the NCAA is still solvent, they're going to hold back tournament credits, basketball tournament credits to get their money. I know you're chuckling, but what do you think about that?
I think that they have no choice. That's where their money comes from.
Right.
That's where the money flows, guys, for the NCAA. It's all in the basketball tournament. They make $1.1 billion off the basketball tournament and distribute $1 billion. And they keep the rest for their operating admin expenses. So that is the only lever they have. That's not surprising at all to see it. But like, isn't this like a bit excessive though? $20 to $30 million per year per school. Like, I mean, does that seem like kind of outside? I don't know, guys. Like, it just seems a little off to me, a little pricey to spend on a couple of years of like house settlement case, because we're talking about since like 2018 or 2019.
Right.
Right.
But not including this year. For some reason, this year's exempted.
Well, because the NIL is not a problem this year.
Right? I understand. I'm just saying, but the players aren't going to think that way, right? They're going to say we played under the same rules everybody else did.
How much does each player get out of this deal? If the 2.77 billion gets, like, nobody's broken the math out on like what that means per player.
Well, I put the link in the private chat. Go to that, Ute, while we're having our discussion. Break that down, and you tell us if you understand what this litigation expense actually is. Because the way I read it, I actually think that might just be the costs to do the litigation. In other words, the legal costs. I'm not exactly sure what that meant, why Ross added it. So, but we do know about the percentages: 60% for the schools, 40% for the NCAA over 10 years.
Right. To answer Ute's question for the settlement, how much each former player who was denied NIL would make, I assume they're probably it's going to vary depending on how many people actually come forward to claim it. It's going to be just like a class action settlement. There's going to be this bulk of funds placed here, and if 100 people get it, it's going to be a huge settlement. But if tens and tens of thousands go and get it, $25, $30 maybe.
It's going to be Aaron Brockovich. It's going to be Aaron Brockovich movie settlement for college football. Like, how much were you harmed? How much was your value? Like, that's how it should be if it's broken out fairly. I don't know if we've seen those details, or if it's a straight 500 people claimed it, they get it all divided that way, or if you were, a massive star, that it obviously would have made more than the 84th person on an 85 team roster. Like, I don't know that I've seen that detail, but maybe somebody else has.
Yeah, we've got some feedback from our viewers who are the best in the world for YouTube show, and they always give us information during our shows live. Illini Ted says, I think the 1910 liabilities in that article that I just sent to you and expenses is for a loan that was taken out during COVID-19, if I'm reading it correctly. So if that represents basically the legal jeopardy, I'm trying to understand on a loan, why even put that in that article? It just seems kind of odd that he added it there. Anyway,
it's really hard to understand what they're saying here.
It really is.
Out to $2.8 billion. This is how they're getting that $2.8 billion figure. And there's 7 different things that are going into it. But like, what the heck does leverage 2024 unallocated net assets?
I don't know.
That's gibberish right there. Really is like.
Right.
So I don't know how they're getting to these figures, but guys, so we're talking about compensating all of the athletes prior to the NIL era. Is that correct?
Right. And back to 2010, billion? I think.
Back to 2010.
I thought that is. Do I have that date right? I want to make sure we're talking about the right date. Do you guys know? Let me check. Keep going, you.
Yeah, because that's my question is, like, are we talking about essentially these like back taxes?
Yes.
Back taxes, like in settlement fees, back taxes. That's how to think about this. Are we talking about 3 or 4 years of back taxes? Or are we talking about like 75 years of back taxes here? I'm not clear on that, actually. And like, as you guys mentioned before, if it's like 75 years of back taxes to fund to all prior.
It's 2016. 2016. Yep.
So was that when the Alston case was decided? Or what triggered the 2016 date?
Wasn't it the UCLA guy, the basketball Ed Bannon? What's his name?
Okay,
Ed Bannon. I think that's what it started. Yeah. Anyway, there's just a lot going on there. We're going to be we've been tracking it for over a year, so this isn't new for us. But I love the conversation, and it's really good to get people caught up doing the homework so they don't have to. So we appreciate everybody being here. Thank you very much, and I think we're going to close that topic out. You haven't had a chance to really say how your week went. Tell us what's going on with you.
And it's been a great week. Yesterday we did a couple shows with Coos. And over on his channel, so that was a lot of fun to talk about. Talked about Virginia Tech, so members, check out that Virginia Tech Hokie horror video. That one's just crazy. Still blows the mind. I seriously almost fell off the chair looking where the Hokies ended up on that list. It's just perplexing. But it was fun to put together. It was fun to get Kuz's input. I've been thinking about that a lot. And big time treat probably coming up for everybody. So we care a lot about data analysis and analytics on this channel, right? College football realignment related. I mean, that is part of our DNA. We are in the process of developing something that is going to be extremely valuable for everybody out there. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Working with a PhD in stats, actually, for university, on developing a model that's a predictive model on viewership. So basically the same exact thing that like your media companies would have in hand. So it's not just the raw data that we've been looking at, but actually the modeling too and the numbers behind it and how that makes sense. That's going to help us with the realignment metrics, what we're looking at too. And we're going to share that with everybody and how that works and what that means and stack rank teams and everything else and play around with that so much. I cannot wait to get that in hand. That's going to be the Dr. S viewership model. We'll call it that. The Dr. S viewership model.
I just want to make sure we're not talking about the same guy that helped equate the Pac-12 with media money, is it? He's not the guy from Utah who said the Pac-12 is worth $50 million a school.
No, this guy doesn't go to the
Just checking. You're up on the hill. I just want to make sure.
Man, I think I know that professor actually that probably recommended.
Do you
that.
really know that?
Yeah,
That's hilarious. That is so funny. Okay, the next thing we talked about was NCAA, the basketball. Sorry, I keep doing that. College football 25, EA Sports. What'd you think of that announcement?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. You know, just that preview video. People are stoked about it and everything, and get ready to play a lot of video games here soon over the next couple months. So,
do you already have a console?
Dude, I've got a PS3. I can't buy another console because of my issues back with EA Sports College Football 2012. Told you guys about that. Played that 25 seasons of Utah football. Seriously, recruiting for 25 seasons. Never lost a freaking game. Dominated Ohio State. I whooped up on you, Moen. Yes, I did. I put you in the SEC too.
You did.
Utah.
You didn't whoop up on me. You whooped up on some computer. You whooped up on some computer.
So you know what?
Hilarious.
That's why I've got a PS3. I'm not buying a PS5, so I'll watch from the background on this game.
All right, no worries. Miami Flo is in the house. Flo's been on the show. We need to get you back on the show, Flo. Maybe next week. Let's talk about that. Send me a DM if you got some time next week. We could do a show. I could even do one Thursday night if you wanted to. But it's great to have you here. Thank you very much. We appreciate you watching. All right, well, so let's move down the line then. There's other news that we can talk about. Let's see. The next one, I wanted to give this link for the Sports Business Journal. Let me give this link out because this is the one I used for the NCAA 25. Everybody go check it out. Gives you background internet information. No, this is the House settlement. I apologize. Wrong one. There you go. There's a link to the Sports Business Journal House settlement. All right. We've gone through most of the headlines of the day. Two things we haven't talked about. Let's quickly talk about what's going on with Florida State and the ACC. Rock, you've been tracking that pretty well. Where are we at with that? What happened with that one ruling that said the thing was stayed? What's that all mean?
Well, UNC is having a whole lot of fun with each other, aren't they? They
they are. Yes.
That seems to be the biggest news. And I don't know if when you're saying, I don't know if you probably meant something different than you're talking about Florida State. I'm just thinking of the UNC being told they can't have the conversation, like they were stayed in their own way within their own board meeting. So I don't know if I'm referring to what you're specifically.
I was talking about the judge who kicked it back, said that they wouldn't do the dismiss and they could basically refile with additional information. That was put on hold in North Carolina. They want
Yes,
to see
because they're
what
going to the Supreme Court.
Right.
So everyone's playing their own game of let's see how fast or slow we can go in our respective state that's going to lean towards us more. And right now in North Carolina, it was in at least a little bit of a win for. I thought that was a win for Florida State personally, in the sense of nothing else can move forward. The local court judge can't do anything until the Supreme Court comes back and asks us. So they got the delay in the state where they have the least favorable field to play on. And even though back in Leon County, they have the judge looking for them to do mediation and whatever that timeline is going to be, and that has been extended. They also have the separate part of the Attorney General trying to do what they're trying to do to get the ESPN contract out, right? So it's like a second separate thing that's going on in Florida State. So that's possibly the thing I think from my paying attention is that going to move first next? Is that the next thing related specifically to the North Carolina side of the ACC, not UNC to be clear, and the Florida side? That's the thing that seems to be the one that could come up next is the Attorney General request. And so that bought Florida State some time in North Carolina, and now we have to see what happens there. And then in the meantime, we're all getting out our popcorn to just watch Chapel Hill, figure out how they can destroy each other internally and not take a backpack with them, or have to take a backpack with them. And with that, I hand it over to you.
That's right. Go ahead, Ute.
You know what? We're playing this game of charades right now. UNC. The local politics there, it's just wild stuff, like on how other schools can, in like leadership, the governors from other schools that have extreme biases can try to hold back a team from making a move for what's in their own best interest. I think it's absolutely wild, guys. I think it's crazy. Because it's not better for the whole state of North Carolina if UNC and NC State stay in the ACC. It is not the best thing for the entire state. The best thing for the state is to put those schools in the most valuable spots as possible to thrive. And right now we know that the SEC is very interested in UNC and that they don't bring, at least in my opinion, enough value to bring both those schools over and stuff. So when push comes to shove, as been said many, many times, it will shake out like this. Wait to overtime. More pressure. FSU rattles the cage more and more, and there's going to be a bust. There's going to be a bust where the feet against the fire, and UNC, the local politics there, the board of trustees, the board of governors, and everybody in that little party over there is just going to say, hey, the best thing for this state, this whole entire enterprise and everything, is let UNC go this way and make $100 million a year, and NC State to go to the Big 12. So I think that's exactly how it's going to shake out. It's not there today. The pressure must build more and more. But as we know with the Pac-12, the pressure will build because it's not getting better. It's getting worse. It's like an infected wound that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I think that eventually it's going to bust. And, give that 3 months, 2 months, 2 days, 6 months, 2 years, whatever it is, the bust date's coming. So let them squawk all they want. At the end of the day, money talks. And money's going to make the decision here. And UNC is going to get in the SEC.
Moen.
Wolfpack, backpack.
Tell everybody what that means, brother.
That means that North Carolina State's going wherever UNC goes. So if the SEC really wants UNC, they're going to have to take North Carolina State. And I don't think it's a bad arrangement. I think there's enough value in North Carolina that you can take North Carolina State at a reduced share. I talked to you when we did the WildUte University about statistics. Stadium is almost always sold out, about 58,000 people pack the stands week in and week out, no matter how good or bad North Carolina State is. They've got a lot of fan engagement. So are they going to go in there and start winning SEC championships? No, they're not. They're going to be a bottom to mid-tier team in the SEC. But like I said, there's still some value there. It's not – granted, I don't think UNC is going to make $100 million, even if they get away from the backpack. The backpack's probably going to charge them $20 million in Carolina money. So
I think that's very likely.
We could just make some merch ones with influence color for like $95 and solve the problem.
Should we have merch? The
I love
Wolfpack
it.
backpack?
That is fantastic. Let's do that. So we've talked about doing, merchandise and stuff, and there's lots of different options. Moen's been shopping for a while. We're looking for like the perfect partner to use. We've put a couple out there, but if you have help on that regard, Rock, please tell us what it is. Okay.
And we can donate like $10 from everyone to help pay the exit fees for the school of choice.
That's hilarious.
Someone's going to be taking an L. It's going to be me, or is it going to be Moen? Moen, wherever.
Wait a second. It's not just you.
We got to have like a side bet.
It's not
someone's
just
taking
you.
an L.
It's you and I. You and I
okay.
have the same thing.
We've
Let's
got
go.
this one. We've got it. We've talked about enough that there needs to be some type of side bet, side wager on penalty if you're wrong on this one.
Penalty. There shouldn't be.
I'll buy you a Coke.
There you go. Coke, very appreciated.
$1.
$1.
$1.
$1.
Well, so my question sort of wandered. I didn't mean that to be two different issues, right? The first issue that I brought up was Florida. That's okay. Florida State, which is what I asked the question about. But really, the big news this week wasn't the stay or the wait for the Florida Supreme Court for the ACC suit. It's what went on at the Board of Governors and Board of Trustees. Which is it? Board of Trustees.
Board of Trustees.
In North Carolina. Monday they met, came out, and one of the trustees absolutely lost his mind. Went out and actually told the truth. Mm-hmm. I know, shocking, right? But he went out and said, yeah, things aren't all nice behind the fence. Now North Carolina has time. They take 2 days. On the third day, they come back together and they're like, no, we all agree. No problem here. You guys can go down the road. There's nothing going on. Meaning there's real issues in North Carolina, which is what Rock talked about. Which is going to pop first? This stuff at North Carolina or the Florida State suit? We've all been assuming Florida State moved first. But honestly, UNC could be the hinge at this point, don't you think?
Never take sides against a family. That's what you saw. They pulled that guy aside and said, I love you, but never take sides against the family again.
All right, there you go. Rock, what do you think?
I mean, you would think that they would have figured this out several weeks ago as we all became versed in what's going on with the who's in charge of the system versus the schools. And shout out Justin as a person
Justin,
out there
right,
who has helped to educate that. You would think they would have the back channel conversations between the schools of what's going on, knowing that they're both going to eventually have to deal with daddy. We just didn't know that there was like a whole other battle going on within the school itself, at least public wise. Like this is another one of those things of, the AD gets the endorsement from the president,
right?
From the president, and you're like, okay, was that it seemed very heartfelt and real, but was that just a damage control optics thing, or was it legitimate? Like, is there division within the school itself, let alone within the system? Like, and obviously I don't know that, but it seemed like it was a pretty legit endorsement of their athletic director. Maybe some people will have other information they can share, but I'm surprised they don't have their ducks in a row.
Right.
Knowing how to navigate their own politics in a state that everyone's been telling us is very political within their system.
Yep.
That they would have both internal to the school itself and with their 20 miles away or whatever it is rival that's in the same system together a little bit better than they seem to have.
I think that's fair analysis. You've got your presentation back up. Can I pull it?
Yeah, pull
it. Are you
up.
ready? Oh, yeah, all right. There you go.
All right, so this needs to be repeated again. This was the presentation last week, the analytical presentation on the ACC's basically doomsday and why it is. This has become more relevant this week. Last week we said, we were the first ones to say it too, I don't know how the ACC can settle. We said that first last Tuesday on the live show. Check it out before everybody in the media started talking about it after the Amelia Island stuff that went on over the weekend. The reason that the ACC can't settle is because the numbers absolutely don't support any type of settlement. I don't care if you're UNC. I don't care if you're Florida State. I don't care if you're Miami. Like losing any of these teams, these significant brands, is too detrimental for the ACC to even take. And like we're looking here at this, the true number viewership share here based on the Nelson rated data here. And you can see that Clemson and Florida State, as discussed last Tuesday, make up 35% of all TV viewership for the ACC. That's likely understated based on other estimates there. That's the actual true number though. But still, like, I mean, that's a huge portion. And let's look again what happens if, where's the ACC today? They're around 500 million in the value of its media contract per school. Everyone's getting 500 million over from 2025 to 2035 over the course of the life of that contract. And if those two schools leave, again, it goes to 352, from 500 million to 352. That's a loss of value of 150 million over the course of that contract. And so that is so substantial that that's a lot of money that would need to be paid out to existing members to make them whole and make this thing still work. And like as talked about last Tuesday, again, the survival money compared to the Big 12. I mean, these are big differences here. But Clemson and FSU would have to pay out $294 million each just to get whole with with the Big 12 contract. So the members would need to get that much money from Clemson and FSU just to be even with the Big 12 contract.
Well, and really quick, I just want to make sure everybody's clear, since you're getting it out of context. The video clears this all up. But what I wanted to say is these percentages and these dollar amounts are fixed, and they're based on basic progression from their earlier contracts. And the ACC doesn't get to renegotiate again until 2036. The Big 12 gets to go back to the well one more time, which could really screw up those numbers.
Absolutely. And we're just assuming that the Big 12 gets a modest 4% pay increase upon a contract renewal at the next contract cycle, which is way less than it would actually be in likelihood. Like it's probably going to be around 30% pay increase at that time over the course of that contract. So these numbers are very, very pro ACC. We're still looking at 294 payout for Clemson and Florida State each. Like that's not even in the realm of what's actually being talked about as legit numbers being paid out. Like you throw UNC into the mix and Miami in the mix, and the numbers just get absolutely crazy. Like with the loss of viewership, that's the problem here, is the loss of viewership, the loss of the brand, the loss of value for the contract. That's what we're really talking about here. And the ACC just can't take it and survive. It just doesn't make sense for survival. So how in the world are they going to settle? They can't settle. They need to take this thing to the end, or else have Florida State and Clemson and everybody else just pay $500 million. That would do it, but that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
That's what it would require, like over $300 million payouts per team, like almost like $400 million. Like that's just not going to happen. And so the ACC is in the biggest pickle. They can't afford to settle because of these numbers.
Quick shout out to Coos. Justin Coos is here on Coos Corner. We were on his show last
Coos?
night. Thanks for being here, Justin. Good to see ya. I want to make sure we got that shout out done. All right. Rock, you weren't here when we talked about this a couple weeks ago. What do you think about that presentation and the data? Is there anything in there that you want to add that might be different analysis, different eyes?
No, I think if you're keeping everything even and not trying to like guess what could or would possibly happen if schools get better or worse and shares go, like even at its base level, the numbers are the numbers, right? Like, I would just argue that, not argue against anything you said, but it just seems like ACC is going down the road of we want to own 100% of 10 million, right? Versus 50% of something achievable that it would actually be something that won't disappear, right? What they want with their, and I understand why they need to stick in those negotiations, but it's also just not realistic. The best way for them to do would be proactively figure out how they survive and exist, because they could actually wind up on the flip side of completely worse by not settling at all, right? Like
right.
Depending upon, what's the risk mitigation on going for it all because the numbers are so bad. From what you just showed, losing Florida State, losing Clemson, and then tearing it down into Miami and North Carolina, versus feeling like you might lose. Like, I don't know, maybe both sides really believe they're going to win, that their lawyers are giving them all the advice that our grant of rights is ironclad and the ESPN's not going to opt out, and the other side is we're 100% sure, but somebody's massively wrong, right? And if the ACC is massively wrong, they will wind up way worse than figuring out a viable settlement and take not just a haircut, but like lose all their hair.
Right. Well, I think everything you said there doesn't necessarily change anybody's minds. I think it's really just furthering along. We're all
Yeah.
seeing the same thing, right? Everybody's seeing
Yeah.
the same thing. The only one that's really got an optimistic outlook, thank you, is Moen. He thinks maybe North Carolina and North Carolina State will go to the SEC. Rock, I'm not sure if you think that's going to happen or not, but it doesn't really matter. What we're talking about is the ACC is in real trouble, forward, fight to the death type trouble. And I don't think, well, actually, I think there has been a change of mind, because who do we have now watching the show? We have North Carolina people watching the show. We have North Carolina State people watching the show. We have Clemson people. We have Florida State people. And is that because they think we're lying to them? Of course not. They're following the data, and they want to stay informed. So
it's college football fear factor.
Fear factor. I like that. We also have Louisville. I didn't want to leave Louisville out as well. Some Pitt people are watching, but I don't think they'll like us very much. I don't know. Anybody else I'm missing?
I think you've got everybody.
Okay, great. All right. If I can get my headset. Sorry, my jacket was on me. It's making me hot. All right, this sucks. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's get into the Q&A, you guys. We've got some news items we've talked about. We've got a lot of people that have opinions. Moen has been starring, I think, every comment that has come in. It's going to be hard for me to get through them. I think that's actually Rock doing that. But that's what we do here on Friday nights. We make you part of the show. I want to invite everybody to leave a comment. I may or may not bring it up. If you're a member, we always defer to member comments, just so everybody knows. And then super chats, everybody gets read. So even the ones that cuss and stuff like that, we always edit them, but we do read them. All right, let's just start at the top of the show. DP says, certainly nothing else to do in Syracuse besides drink and Syracuse sports. Well, there you go. There you go.
Cheers
Drinking
to you,
game.
DP.
That was organic, I think. That was pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Let's see here. Get to some more. Let's go with Joey Z. Joe Z says the official video came out and was like 10,000 views per hour or something like that. I think it probably got higher than that. What did you think about the video?
I'm stoked with the video. The game looks amazing. The game's always been amazing. It's like best game in the world, in my opinion. Or I know we're college football nuts, but it's so good. Can't wait to see what they do with the transfer portal, recruiting, and everything. So yeah, it's worth the hype. Absolutely, get excited for it.
Won't the NIL break the game?
Not if you use Life Wallet. Am I honest?
Okay, that's funny. I'm sorry. That was really
funny. What's the game going to do about NIL and the boosters?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. You're going to have 5 schools that are going to be able to survive. It's going to be SMU, Miami, Ohio State. Probably some big booster is going to come in and put Stanford up there at the top. It's going to be ridiculous.
There's going to be a secret game in the game where the boosters fight each other in a UFC death match for the rights to the last tight end on the board.
Like the cow level on Diablo. Yep, I can see that. All right.
Are your booster funds going to decline if you have a bad season?
Moen, tell us how that's going to be handled.
You'll probably have to pay EA a microtransaction to do anything with NIL. You got to pay $25 for 4,600 NIL points, and at that point you can put them into the NIL. If anybody's played any EA game for the last 10 years, you'll know it's all about microtransactions. Okay. If you want a particular player, you're probably going to have to pay for it. It's a gambling thing. They do these packs where, you got to buy a pack and then see who you get. I got Tony Dorsett. Well, great. I don't play as Pittsburgh. Why the hell would I want Tony Dorsett?
Right.
I wanted Archie. I wanted Antoine Winfield. I wanted these people. But now I've got stuck with these other people. So you're constantly.
I'm sure all the coins.
Yeah, about 1979 Joe Montana. You could really get some good
for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
All the coins will have SEC on one side. It'll be good.
That's right. It's all about skins, right? Everybody's going to buy their best year, 2008 for Utah. BYU 1984. Everybody's going to be running around with those skins, and I guarantee you, even if they're $100, people will buy them. As Moen said, it is the most addicting level of video gaming you will ever come across. I'm always going to warn people, if you have little kids and you don't want them to be addicted to video games, keep your own use down. I speak from personal experience. So, yeah, anyway, let's move on. Let's see here. Sergeant Pickle says Ohio State fan complaints about lack of exposure in 2024. Colorized. He's talking to you, Owen.
There's plenty of exposure in that trailer. It's exposed. It's all negative towards Ohio State. I mean, listen.
How you let Illinois do that to you, Moan? How you let Illinois do
the Donovan Edwards thing? I can let that slide. But there is no way Burt is going to score 52 points with that Illinois team.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Who's their best player in history? I can't name them. Probably like Jim Brown or something. Yeah. I don't know who it is. You think about that and get back to me.
Red Grange.
Where's EA's headquarters? Is EA headquarters like Champaign, Illinois?
I thought it was Chicago. I thought it was.
Well, there you go. That's why I'm seeing that.
Well, no. You know who knows? Rock knows. Where's EA at right now, Rock?
Well, there's some down here. I don't know if they're completely
right
all in this area. There's definitely a presence down here, but I don't know if that's like HQ, if it's more NorCal.
When they bought Blizzard, did that change where they go?
I'm not sure, and the only reason why I'm saying that is because like they have studios down here for some of like the live games there, and I can't tell if that means that's like where all of their people are, if that's just where some of their streaming is. Like there's League of Legends stuff like not too far from where I live.
Okay,
I'm not different game companies and everything, but they're all here in some way just because of the creative community that powers that. But some of them are obviously up in other places too.
People are just getting a little taste of what Rock and Rant does. He's our supercomputer in the background. Just everybody just be prepared for deep dives on some things. Let's see. Peek around the corner. Greg Flugar, Flug Empire on Twitter says, "Thanks for being here, Greg." Says the video game trailer was horrific. Obviously a Minnesota booster. 4 different spots for the Evil Badgers, and it ends with Wisconsin swinging the axe. What a nightmare. Whoever made that trailer is my enemy. Yeah, I wasn't very happy either, Greg. But
wait till you see the concessions.
At least we weren't dunked on by Colorado at home. That's all I'm saying.
Wait till Greg sees the concession stands with the hamburgers with cheese on them. It's all over. Then he's going to throw the game.
I would rather not be on the game if I'm going to be punched in the face on a trailer.
I've actually got audio of Greg watching the trailer.
All right, here we go.
Oh!
That's the best drop in the history of drops, by the way. Greg Flugar, friend of the show, the OG of realignment, social media.
Godfather.
Yep, absolutely the man. Thank you for being here, Greg. Really honored to have you. All right, let's get to some more. We've got answers to some questions. Daniel Gygax says, says EA Sports HQ is Redwood City, California. Have you guys ever been there?
No.
You haven't been there, Rock? It is one of the most beautiful places on the face of the earth. Redwood forests right out the back door, right on the coast. My cousins lived there, and it was absolutely beautiful. It makes sense why they would be there. Let's see here. Illini Ted says Red Grange and Dick Butkus. Well, there you go.
Dick Butkus. I forgot Butkus.
We ask questions. People give us answers. That's what I like. Mr. Ed Wayner, good to have you, Ed. Can 8 ACC teams still get together before June 30th and break the gore? Or does it require 75% of the teams voting to break the gore? Ed, for one thing, nobody's ever done it before. Nobody's ever broken a gore before. So there's some questions, whether it's a simple majority or it needs to be 3/4. So do you guys have better answers than that?
You just nailed it. It's unclear.
I mean, what would the solution look like? Let's say it's 10 teams. Moen, give me 10 teams that want to leave the ACC so bad they're willing to pay $200 million.
There isn't.
Okay. Well, there you go.
No, if there's 10 teams, you probably be better off assuming that North Carolina applies to the ACC and dissolve in the next 40 days before anybody else joins. Right?
Which is July 1st. Yep. That's right. Totally agree with you. The dissolving of the conference also, there's a question about whether that even dissolves the media contract. You could disappear the conference, but still owe ESPN X. That could happen as well. So anyway, Ed, great questions. We didn't really give you solid answers because honestly, nobody's been able to tell us. So thank you for bringing it up. It is a good discussion point, though. Let's see here. Sooner in Texas. Sorry, boy, that's tough life. Keep your head down there, Sooner. Want to keep you healthy. Let's assume the ACC does fold. How much longer do you think it will be before ESPN and Fox forces the fold of the Big 12, only to snatch up the best of the rest? Absolutely could happen. 20, 30, 31, that could happen sooner. You guys want to comment on that?
Yeah, I'll comment on that and piss off everybody in the Big 12. The best of the rest of the Big 12 is Kansas and Kansas.
There you go.
That's the only big enough brand that I think that the Big 10 or the SEC would take. I don't see maybe Arizona State down the line.
I think BYU could be on that list, depending on what the number is. I think Utah could be on that list, depending on what the number is.
Yeah, it depends upon where they're looking.
Go ahead, Rock. What?
I was gonna say it depends upon like how far down the road they're looking. Like if this is Avengers Endgame for college football and it's all over until a new multiverse springs up, then you have to think about like 2040, right? And if you're thinking of that, then other schools that might not seem apparently valuable to the degree that you need to now factor in much more, like Arizona State and Utah. I'm not even saying they're not valuable at that point, but if this is the last one and you're never going to, other than incrementally one by one, then you have to have like a different view. If it's just like the next 3 or 4 years, then maybe that's the case.
Very fair.
Don't see the Big 12 folding
anytime
soon in the future, because schools are going to need a place to land if they're not in the Power 2. It's going to be the best of the non-Power 2. Guys, so the Wildner and Canzano podcast is a great podcast. They had yesterday a guest that is a media executive, Patrick Crakes. You've probably seen him on other YouTube shows before. He is one of the best of the business. He was talking about media contracts, talking about Super League on a show yesterday. Got to listen to it. But he made the comment that there are 25 to 30 college football teams that drive 80% of all viewership and value. 25 at most 30 teams. So before the Big 12 folds up, you need consolidation in the Power 2. That's the thought process there. And so going back to what you want to call Super League or whatever, if you're going to maximize revenue, if that's the idea here, and that's what we're pointing to again, if the Big 12 folds, why would the Big 12 fold? To maximize revenue and build the strength of the conferences to maximize TV money. That's where we're going at the end of the day. That's what we're talking about. And that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to pull the 25, 30 best brands, make them their own entity, then sell the rights to those games.
Absolutely.
That drives 80% of all viewership and value in college football is 25 to 30 brands. And that leaves out a heck of a lot of P2 teams, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the series I want to see. I like you had the Mowens alternate universe of things that happened in the past. I want to see Ute's version of if that happens, Vanderbilt to the Big 12, like that video. Is it worth it for Vanderbilt? Is it worth it for the Big 12 to take Vanderbilt if that ever were to happen? Like, as an example.
Yeah, I love it. That's where the passion's at. That's what people care about. I also don't agree that the Big 12 is going to fold. I think there needs to be a landing place for everybody else. And it's not going to be the ACC reconstructing. I know that came out this week again. Maybe they could break away and Florida State would stay in the ACC. They would drop Boston College and Wake Forest, and who else knows? And they're just going to take the best 8 or 9 schools and reconstitute. I don't make many promises. I can almost promise that will never happen. There's no way that Florida State is going to stay in the ACC. The bridge is burned. So they're going somewhere else, guaranteed, which brings the value of the whole conference down. Now all of a sudden your value's out the door and makes no sense to reconstitute. So anyway, that's where we're at. Look at this. Look what we got here. Becky Go Huskies, a new member.
Becky.
Winner. There we go. Thank you, Becky. Becky is a contributor for the Big West Mafia show on Monday nights, 8 Eastern. Tune in, her and Sergeant Pickles. Fantastic show. It's growing every week. And get in on that Big West for the Big Ten area. You got UCLA, USC, Washington, I guess Oregon's in there too. all in the Big 12, Big 10 now. Let's talk about it. That's where that channel's going, and we're getting bigger and bigger. We had a show this week on Wednesday. Rock, tell everybody what our show was on Wednesday.
Yeah, the crew from the LA Football Network, which covers football in Los Angeles broadly from pro to college. We had a couple of their hosts who do USC and UCLA join us for the first time. They were great. Coach who represented USC actually played on USC in the Pete Carroll era in 2009, which I didn't know before us reaching out to them. So we're definitely hopeful of having them in the mix both here, but also possibly with Pickles and Becky on their show, and having a great collab series with them. Definitely could use any recommendations from the community here for somebody who wants to represent Phil Knight in Oregon that could hit in there, or we could just talk bad about them either way. But it was great to have some more voices there. People have like kind of gone through it and see where they think was going on. I think one thing there, I don't want to babble too much, is it's just really interesting. Even people who are connected to college football, how much people don't necessarily know the degree of weeds that we are all in about this stuff, right? Like a lot of takes out there are very informed about the sport, but getting down to the numbers and knowing what lawsuits were filed where is like, it's a community that we are all part of in various ways that I got sucked into via people like you and Greg and
Hoover.
Really,
we've got a Hoover out there sucking people up, Rock.
Blue and Gold Dude initially is how I got into that world with a YouTube algorithm. But that conversation, if you haven't seen that show, go back and look, and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yep, that's true. Absolutely true. Thank you for reminding everybody about that. And Becky, thanks for becoming a member, even though you're also a contributor. Really, really appreciate that a lot. Here's Greg Flugar peek around the corner is saying Rock and Rant is killing me. What's he talking about?
Just, giving him trauma probably about meat and cheese. I mean, I would like to think it's my jokes, but it's probably just more about meat and cheese.
Okay. All right. We have another admin on our Discord, not admin, moderator on our Discord. That would be Ty Kev. Good to have you here, Kev. He says, hearing rumors from software engineer friends that it's going to be rushed because they don't want to go up against GTA 6. Rock, do you have any insight in that?
I don't. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I think there's way more demand and anticipation. Look, the GTA series is huge for forever, but there's been such a pent up demand for this game that I don't know, like whatever the gaming equivalent, if they were going up against each other, that would be, Barbenheimer, it would be fine. Like so if they're doing that, I don't know that they need to do it for that reason, but I don't have any insight into it. I think the demand for both is going to be pretty overwhelming, especially.
They're divergent fan bases, aren't they?
Yeah, and the overlap part is not going.
The age difference and everything, I think, is different.
Yeah, where the circles overlap, those people are going to buy both. I don't really think it's an issue.
Sounds right. Moen, this is for you from Illini Ted. He says, I'm not sure if the NCAA Council has any power at all anymore, but the Illini AD Josh Whitman was just promoted to the committee chair. I did hear that. Do you have any comments on that?
No, I mean I like Illinois. It's just you're not scoring 52 points on the Ohio State defense. And I'm all for bringing back the Illy Buck Trophy as an annual trophy game.
What the heck? What are we even talking about right now? Are you still on the football game?
Yeah, that's what he was talking about.
I know. Struck a nerve. Okay.
We got to pull up a picture of that.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
I don't have it yet. I'm just looking for it.
What you do?
Does anybody have an image of
what?
Illinois, beating Ohio State in the game?
Jeff Fuller, another analytics nerd with WildUte. We're going to get together and talk about this fanatics, if you want to use the word, or fans. What's he say? He calls it the fan craziness or something.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
And we're going to look
fan
at
index.
Avid fan index, AVI. That's right. Here he's got a comment. He says, "What was up with the takes by the USC coach guest Wednesday? What was up with the takes? I'm not sure which take."
Oh, I know what he means. He was just, coach had spoken about that. He felt that Oregon State had deserved a bid to the Big Ten. And I think where he was coming from was more about like the quality of the football program, and that they, it's unfortunate that their rise, hadn't happened earlier, so that maybe they'd be in a better position. They're not necessarily going into the dollar allocation to the degree that we, especially, would go. I think that's really where it was coming from. His take about the all conferences will be gone within 5 years. I mean, that's just talking about those who think that eventually next contracts 2031, 2032, that the Super League forms. So I don't think it was necessary. It was a point of view from a different point of view about competitive quality and what a program is, and what a future could be that everyone else has talked about and either believes or doesn't believe will happen.
Yeah, that's what we're working on, is trying to get as much other opinion in so people don't think we're tunnel vision, right? That's really important. Oregon, he said Oregon State deserved a Big Ten invite. We can walk past that. All conferences will be gone in 5 years. There we go. I think we talked about that. Now that Saban is gone, need to see if Bama deserves blue blood status. Yeah, I know he said that. I just I let that go.
Wow.
So,
yeah, I think that was, I mean, certainly that's a take. They're blue blood, right? The question is,
there's not even a question. Yeah.
My extrapolation, and I don't want to speak for Coach at all. What I just kind of took away from that is there was a period when Alabama was Bear Bryant, and then there was a period after that where they were not. Yeah. And does the program fall? But even if they fell hard, they would still be a blue blood, and there's no world where they're not in it, right? So I think it's just about definitions.
Everybody who's a blue blood now has been a blue blood for decades. So I can't even think of one school that's at least, what would we say, a time invested 40 years to begin to become a blue blood, because there's only about 7 or 8 of them.
Clemson might have reached that status.
Did
with
they?
its championship run?
How about Miami? Miami's been big for 43 years. See, I think Miami is.
And the new blue bloods, right? Like Florida State wasn't a blue blood 45 years ago either, right? Like I'm not sure
they're a blue blood now.
There's two tiers, I think. There's the people who inherited the land and the people who built the company.
Well, we're trying. We're trying. All right, let's pretty quick before we do this. Moen, what was the final vote on the podcast thing? I'm sorry,
81 to 18. 81 to 18.
In favor of it?
81-4.
Oh, great. All right, well, we're going to do that then. Let me bring
What is that? Oh, the turtle. Is that a turtle?
That's the Illybuck trophy. It used to be a real turtle. Now we play for a wooden turtle. But look up here. 42-52. Illinois scored 52 points. I don't think Illinois scored.
Oh my gosh. Moen, so this is from EA. I thought this was a real picture. That's amazing, actually.
Real
yeah,
picture.
So now I know how to get Moen's goat. Here this whole time he's been unflappable, but now we know how to get him. Talk about a video
I'm
game.
just saying, if it's going to be realistic, maybe they beat them 19-14.
Okay.
And
all right.
Today, that's the one thing I learned.
Yeah.
The one thing I learned is that was not about the University of Maryland. I learned something new today.
All right, let's move on.
What's the quick background on the turtle? Can you give like a 15-second snippet?
It used to be
5 seconds.
a turtle that they played for. It used to be a real tortoise, and it would go back and forth. And then I think the tortoise died, and they changed it to a wood turtle.
It is pretty extraordinary. There's no doubt about it. I thought it was Maryland as well. So,
amazing.
Anyway,
you Big Ten people are nuts.
I
love it.
Let's follow up with another comment from Jeff Fuller. He says, "Let's go College Football Mafia." That's us, formerly known as Big 12 Mafia. Mm-hmm. Yes, and the Holy Rival Show. That is absolutely true. We still have a Big 12 Mafia show on Tuesdays, at least for now. And Holy Rivals is in abeyance right now. We're trying to figure out what to do with that one. So thank you, Jeff. Appreciate the shout outs for all of the brands. That's really cool. TF Williams says, a member says, Clemson is getting a copy of the ESPN agreement for research under seal. Was that executed? Did they actually receive it?
I don't know if they received it, but yes, they're getting it. But that's
okay.
That's the difference between Clemson and Florida State. Florida State, if they get it, they're going to sunshine law it. Yeah, it's open.
Yeah, right. Okay. Any other comments about that, guys?
That's the only conspiracy theory that I subscribe to.
Which is
that it's a perfect time for somebody else to leak it from a past unhappy employee at ESPN and make it seem like Clemson did. That's the only conspiracy theory. Everyone's like, there's no way. Everybody will think it's Clemson that did it. I'm like, exactly. It's the perfect time to do it. Disgruntled ACC employee that somehow got it. Awesome time. ESPN, somebody else who worked at ESPN now at Fox wants to cause pain. It's the perfect time to cover it. And I know it's probably not going to happen, but that's my one conspiracy theory. That's what I would do.
That's like a fever dream, I think. I would love for that to happen.
It's a fantasy. We all
That
have
would
our
be
version
awesome.
of college football fantasy. One is
That's
that.
mine.
The other one's like Miami not getting left behind. But those two are mine.
My favorite would be the Gore disappearing and the chaos that would ensue in every conference. It would be like Armageddon.
I'm not sure the Big 12 would be too impacted by the Gore disappearing. Maybe a KU leaves, but I don't think there's going to be mass exodus to like the Power 2.
I'm not saying Big 12's leaving. I'm saying the other two conferences are going to have issues. And
the ACC is going to get torn apart.
Do you think so?
ACC will disappear.
ACC for sure, but do you think the other two conferences would have issues? Because who's going to willingly want to leave the Big 10 or the SEC?
You could envision a future that Moen doesn't want to think of, but the best 24 brands getting together and going playing football.
Yeah.
No Super League.
Okay, yeah, I know, Moen. I'm not challenging you.
What if we call it something else? Like
what do you want to call
Premier League?
That's already taken.
Well, that's already taken.
That's already taken. All right, we'll think about that. Let's come up with a good name. I think that's a great idea. Kay, who's been around now for an hour. We appreciate you being here, Kay. $2 super chat. Bomber, do your best imitation of Greg's O.
Do it, Bomber.
I'm not good with these things. Okay.
Here, you want me to do it? You want me to do it first?
Yeah, prime it for me so I can hear it.
Oh.
Oh man, that's hard to follow. All right. Oh.
That's
good. A new sounder. That's a new sounder.
Did you catch that? Yeah.
We can extract the audio later. It's okay.
Yeah.
Either way, we got it.
Yep.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Kay. You got me in trouble. Well done. For $2, Kay got me in trouble. Hall of Fame college football, Jason, and
What's
the
up,
coach.
Jason?
How you doing, Jason? Good to see you.
What's up, Jason?
He says, very understated. Good to see you. Glenn Luman checking in from where?
The Philippines.
The Philippines. All we need is Jan Hulk. Where's he at tonight?
Yeah, where's Jan tonight?
Joe Z says, bring on the Duck mascot as the host. That's funny.
I'm going to say this right now. If Oregon beats Ohio State, I will put on the Donald Duck hat. I've got a Donald Duck hat from Disney World.
What?
I will put on the Donald Duck hat.
There is no way.
If Oregon beats Ohio State this year, I'm putting it out there. You can clip this, people. If you're an Oregon fan watching, I will put on the Duck cap.
Is it in Columbus?
It's in Oregon this year.
Okay, so you're playing in Eugene? All right.
Yeah.
Just so you know, they leave the water sprinklers on right up until kick time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in that stadium.
Get ready for some nastiness over there at Autzen Stadium.
They're not very nice people.
The Buckeyes are going to be dogs in that game, though. I think they're going to be probably 1.5, 2-point dogs.
We'll have to see. That's the fourth game of the year, right? So
yeah,
I think we'll have to see week before. We'll have to talk about it. Daniel Gygax, BR. A few OSU guys were saying Ollie is the best running back in Stillwater. Completely forgot Barry Sanders.
Yeah,
Barry Sanders is
probably the greatest
runner.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're running back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong, Daniel. He is really good, but Barry Sanders.
It's like the best ever.
I think so. He retired when he was like 30.
Somebody's been drinking way too many Georgia, Texas, Syracuse.
All right, let's get that one. Those are organic. I like that. That's good. Let's see here. Josie says, bring on the Duck mascot as the Hoda. I already read that once. Sorry. Let's try this. Josie says, at least there was a single shot of the Trojan planting the sword on the 50. It's true. USC had a premier spot. It was also filmed in LA, so talk conspiracies. Let's go there. Let's get to some older comments here. Sergeant Pickle says Ohio State fan complains about lack of. Oh, we already did that one. I'm not marking my own down. Jeff Woodward says, can you make Wichita State and will Ted Lasso be their coach? That would be okay. Let's think about it. If you could pay for things for video games, microtransactions, Ted Lasso, fresh off of the Premier League win, comes in and coaches at Missouri State, wins the whole thing. For $100, you can have.
I like it. Yeah.
It's not impossible. Believe me. In video games, nothing is impossible.
Oh, go back to that. Go back.
Yeah, I can't go back to it. I marked it
okay.
off.
Sorry, I just wondered
No,
what that
go ahead.
profile picture was. It was some kind of weird
sorry.
horse-looking thing.
Sorry,
Let me know what
Moen, I
that
was too
profile
quick.
picture is. You got me perplexed.
All right, I think was that Daniel Gaiax who said that? Sorry.
No, it definitely wasn't Daniel Gygax. It was some kind of
Okay.
horse thing.
I was too quick with getting rid of that one. I'm sorry. DP, another member says, Line Ted, remember that Mike Tyson knockout game? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I beat Mike Tyson.
Was that Punch Out? Is that the game?
Yes.
Was Punch Out. And if you didn't have the patterns memorized, you'd get dogged by what was the first guy's name? Like Glass Joe or something?
Yeah, Glass Joe was number one.
Like Chin Glass Joe or something like that.
It was Glass Joe, yeah.
Glass Joe. And if you couldn't get past him in the first round, you should put your game away and sell it. All right.
Who wins between Paul and Tyson, guys? Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are fighting soon. Who wins that matchup?
Okay, let's ask.
It's curious.
I want to go last. Moen, who wins that fight?
Mike Tyson, Jake Paul.
We're all losers. Boxing went from one of the greatest sports in history to a laughing stock now.
It's true.
I don't care. I'm not going to watch it. It's a joke.
Okay.
Ugh.
What do you think, Ute?
Tyson.
Okay. Rock, what do you think?
It's like a bad sequel to Rocky, but you just need the one punch. And Tyson,
Please, Tyson. Please.
Tyson, and it's like shot or stabbed. Either way, we're dead from having had to go through watching this.
Right. I have a funny story about Tyson. So when he was in his heyday, he was just killing people left and right. And one time one of my best friends, his dad had HBO, but it was pay-per-view, right? So he went to the cable company, gave him the $50 to watch it. We were about 45 seconds after the bell, and the fight was already over. He knocked him out in 8 seconds, one punch. Mike Tyson's the baddest one-off fighter, I think, in boxing history. That's just my opinion. But I'm going to take Tyson.
Yeah.
Jake Paul could beat him. Jake Paul's a big dude.
I know Jake Paul could win.
Yeah, he could. I'm not betting money. That's how I know I'm right.
I'm picking Buster Douglas.
Oh, that was bad. Don't get me started. That made me so sad. Mark Bowman, member, says 2025 QB Ryan Fitzgerald, son of former Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald, who's now living in shame or something, right? Has committed to Iowa. How about that?
Wow.
That is a big
No offense, no offense.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe he becomes their first Heisman Trophy candidate there at Iowa. Oh, wait, no, they had one. They already had a Heisman. In the 80s, who was that won the Heisman?
From Iowa?
Yeah. 80s or 90s. I thought there was one. No? All right, I'm going to have to check that out. My memory is letting me down. Not a small thing. Sergeant Pickles, full bias here, but the shot of the Washington players in the rain coming out of the tunnel was amazing. Yes, that got my blood going.
Pickles, 100%. Washington is one of the best stadiums, entrances, uniforms. Seriously, yep. Washington's pretty baller.
It's a lot better than it used to be too. It used to have that track around it, and it was not the best to look at. It's still fun stadium. Now they got rid of that, and oh my goodness, it's a lot.
They sailgate in Washington, guys. Did you know that? They actually go tailgating on their sailboats.
I did.
Their yachts outside the stadium.
Yeah. Lake Washington, you bet. Ex-Mositox. Did I get it right, Moen?
Mosito X.
Damn it. Mosito X. My memory is just not good. Mosito X. I am going to buy the game. We'll definitely mimic playing Louisville with Ray Rice and Rush the Field. I'll play this year's bowl game too. Okay. Well, there you go. EA's getting some money. Good to have you here. Let's see here. Illini Ted says, I'm beginning to wonder how many more teams, if any, save Notre Dame, could join the P2 at a full share. That's a great statement / question.
Right.
Anybody
but Notre Dame? I'm going to say a full share Florida State.
Florida State's going to get a full share.
That's the only one I can think of.
UNC and Notre Dame.
You think UNC is going to get a full share?
I do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Either team, any school that actually has two viable options, if when it all plays out, Big Ten or SEC, if there's a actual two paths there, which includes things we may not know, they will have full share, regardless of whether they're worth the full share, because they'll just be part of a bidding war.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I'm torn. I've thought about this question. I personally think Florida State definitely has one. Notre Dame we take for granted. I've thought about Clemson. I've thought about UNC. Honestly, I can't see any other schools going in at full share. The only thing I can think of is maybe Florida State paired with Clemson all in the same move. They would both get a full share just because one got a full share, the other one just like UCLA got one, for the ride with USC. I also think that Miami could sneaky get one if it was the right conditions, if they had the SEC fighting for them as well.
I think that more now than I would have 4 weeks ago, and only because a couple of people in Miami circles who actually, talk about it and online and I know have access, have talked about SEC as not completely out of the question in their take. I don't know that that's true or not.
Right.
But that would be the thing I think would have to happen for Miami to sneaky go in there, is that there's next level stuff going on that nobody knows. But other than that, I think the Ute's analysis have been pretty spot on.
Well, there we go. TF Williams, member, says NC State on ruling from State Supreme Court, Florida waiting FSU to refile. So he's giving us the update on the two stories. What you guys? David McKenzie, the lawyer, I believe he's a Duke grad, is the guy who filed that open records law challenge at North Carolina Board of Trustees. If he hadn't have done that, they might have been talking. What did you guys think about that lawsuit?
Petty. Extremely.
Really? You think so?
Extremely petty.
Okay.
Yeah. There's more of that pettiness going on in that state, in the political realm.
It's too bad the Board of Trustees didn't just block him on Twitter or something. That was the most meta thing to have happen and be exposed on Twitter, right? Like the guy who's railing and a puppet for the ACC in some form is actually the guy who both files and is behind it. That's like so next level plot twist that you wouldn't have expected it to be in season 2 of this.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that being all a PR stunt?
I think it's exactly that's what it is, a PR stunt. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, people are talking about him that would never know his name.
Yeah. Next week, Genetics is going to file in South Carolina.
Right?
That's fantastic.
Right. Just the model right there.
Hey, I had a lot of follow-up jokes. I'm not going to say. That's a good one though. Good joke there, Hawk. I don't know. I think it is meta though. I think it's more than just stopping them from talking. I think there's bigger things associated with it.
Like stopping them from talking behind a closed door session. Do you think that you just can't make a phone call after that's over and talk about it with everybody that was going to be in that room anyway?
Yeah.
Like, come on. How petty is that?
I don't know. Mark Bowman.
That's what they did. They still talked about it, guys. It's like they didn't they can't talk about this topic. It's just like a one-on-one calls and everything else, and like going out to dinner to talk about it rather than just having a formal discussion.
They just did the same thing that gives Florida State the confidence that they have a home, right? And it's not because they have an invite; it's because through third parties or dinners with a friend, they have a good handle on it. Like
that's why that's so petty. It's absolutely petty. It's just what a PR stunt, right?
So my follow-up joke was after the Board of Trustees ended, they all met at the local Sizzler. Talk about it.
Is Sizzler in business still?
That's the thing. They found one. They found a Sizzler. All right, we got a super chat here from Mark Bowman. Quick reminder, if you want to be on the show, have your comment read, it'll have to be a super chat at this point. We're sort of going to be, next several minutes, whatever, talking. But we really thank everybody for being here tonight. Make sure you follow us all on Twitter. Make sure you bookmark us and subscribe on YouTube. And then turn on your notifications when our show is going to be on and when we post stuff on Twitter. Mark Bowman, $10 super chat, says, Chuck Long, that's who I was thinking of. Thank you very much. Iowa QB finished second to Bo Jackson. Okay. And closest Heisman vote ever. So I knew it was in my head, right? I knew what it was. But Chuck Long, he was a good quarterback in college. I mean, he was laser beam. He couldn't really get going in the NFL. Moen, you want to add anything to that?
That was legitness. Yeah, it was.
I love when my memory is a little confirmed. I was a little wrong. It wasn't. He didn't win the Heisman, but he was close.
He was close.
Let's see here. BR says Utah's here, so now I can say go Pokes beat Utah.
Boo, boo, boo. Man, I tell you, these Oklahoma State fans have really come out of the works, starting to slap around a little bit. So, hey, BR, looking forward to the game in Stillwater. September 21, buddy.
Let's see here. Has been. That's a good name. No school conference or conference school exit lawsuit has ever gone to trial, including ACC Maryland. All settled. You're exactly right, has been. We've taken that for granted on this show just because we talked about it so much. But you're right. Just to set the table, put it in context. No gore has ever been broken, and none of these type of lawsuits has ever been completed. Every one of them's been settled out of court, which leaves the ACC one as the one outlier that could possibly go the distance.
I think all you have to do is look at the Pac-12 last year, the year before, and what happened, and the fracture of that league, and basically its destruction and what happened to it. And all of a sudden, we're in a different world now than what used to be. And so we've looked at the numbers. I've showed you guys the numbers and everything about how the math would shake out. The ACC, all the schools have their own figures and stuff, but if the numbers just can't work in the ACC's favor, why in the world would they settle? What do they get out of that? Just a bunch of teams bolting, and then all of a sudden you don't exist anymore, or you exist with a few members, like a Pac-2? Why? Why do that? You don't need to do that. You can force this thing down the road more, and I think that that's what they're going to try to do. But the pressure is going to mount, like we know, and that's what's going to make this really interesting. It's a powder keg for sure. And, like, how long can it go? I mean, like, it's the wild stuff, guys. So dang entertaining. Like, that's really the case, though. It's like, I can't afford to settle with you, so I'm going to string this along for as long as possible so everybody else can keep getting paid based largely on your viewership. Like, it's just wild stuff.
It really is sort of out of the box, right? Never could have imagined it would go this far. Moen, I see you wanting to say something.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been – I see what has been a saying, but I don't think there's ever been a situation where it's an existential crisis for a conference. That's what this is. It's an existential crisis.
I think that's fair. I think it is existential, meaning it could disappear. No doubt about it. I love this comment from Ty Kev, who's closer to my age than maybe some other people. We're talking about Mike Tyson's Punch Out, a couple of the characters' names. Okay, these are not PR. These are not politically correct names, but it was in the game. Going to be some Piston Hondas, who happened to be an Asian guy, and Bald Bulls, which looked like an Italian sort of.
No. Bald Bull was from Istanbul.
Oh, you're right. He was. Thank you for correcting me. I thought he was. Yeah, anyways, I was thinking something else. Thank you. So somebody from Turkey. So don't get mad at us if you're from Turkey or from one of the Asian countries. That was just what they used.
What happened. Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was. But it reminds me of the names, and those are funny. Let's see here. Arnengad says Niall Kinnick from the University of Iowa's only Heisman, 1939. There we go. Look at that. See, that's what we got here. That's a deep pull. Thank you very much, Arnengad. Appreciate it. Let's see.
It's true. Verified. It's absolutely true. I was a Heisman winner.
There you go. Illini Ted, member, says, what will Moen do if Illini beat Ohio State and score 52 points in the process?
Go to church.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Go to church. I like that. That's something good to do.
Yeah, the world's clearly ending at that point.
Joe Z says, so I went back and checked. Ohio State has never been on the EA college football cover.
Correct.
That's kind of odd because there are some schools that have been on
Ohio. Look, they hate Ohio State. I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
That's just pretty strong, I think, for them to hate you. You think it's just jealousy?
Yeah, it always is.
Okay. All right. You say so. Mr. Monkey says, why is basketball money always paying for everything? That's a very insightful question, Monkey. Why is basketball money always paying for everything? What do you guys think?
It's not.
Mr. Football objects.
Basketball money might one day pay for everything, but it's sure not today. It's paying for 20% of football. Really, football's worth 5 times more than basketball as far as the media rights contracts go, and also ticket sales and everything else. Basketball is a far, far second to football, men's basketball.
But he's probably referring to the settlement.
Yeah. He's
referring
to
the settlement.
The NCAA, the 60-40. That's what he's talking about, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Either way, we know it is 5 times greater. It's 5-1 basketball versus football. But thanks for being here, Monkey. Good to see you. Daniel Gygax says, at Cougar Tracks, even if the NCAA dissolves tomorrow, that debt will just go to the conferences. Yeah, I 100% agree. They're going to get their money. It's going to be a settlement with the individual schools, I imagine, through the NCAA.
Yeah. The CFB Mafia applies really great here sometimes. Like, everyone loves to do the NCAA, this evil entity that we are all the members of. So the Godfather made us do it, right? Like,
oh my Lord. All right, keep going, Rock.
I mean, no, that's really, like, I think you're right. Like, on that point, like, it's not just they're not going to go bankruptcy, and they're a member organization, right? Like, whether they didn't control the ACC members didn't control their commissioner very well. They're still having to deal with the financial ramifications of those contracts and the commitments that they're making until a court proves otherwise. Like, maybe there's some scenario where NCAA dissolves and track has no idea how to run their championships anymore for a minute. That doesn't necessarily mean a court's going to say that the portion that the NCAA, which is a member organization, is no longer valid. They'll just figure out the math, most likely, to trickle it down to the people that the money is still going to go to from whatever the replacement organization or way of getting the NCAA former tournament together.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. I did have a tweet. I didn't bring it up. I had no time to do it now, but there is talk about the NCAA sort of going away. I thought, I'm sorry, this has to be a joke. That's what I'm thinking when I'm reading this. They're gonna create a new enforcement arm to go through and enforce all the rules and all the penalties, so the NCAA can go away. They're getting prepared right now. They're tooling up for a different organization to do the exact same thing. So, same people, they'll just probably change the name.
Wow. NCAA 2.
Something. It's gonna, or maybe everybody will be NAIA. Maybe they'll just use a different conference. I don't know, but it's true. It was on Twitter today. Let's see. Like and subscribe. Everybody's like and subscribe from Moen. I'm not even going to try. Thank you.
Mositos.
There we go.
Mosito, it looks like you are a Rutgers guy, too. It's based on the logo.
I love that. Thanks for being here. Big Ten, Rutgers East. That's fantastic.
The Ray Rice comment makes a lot more sense. Ray Rice played at Rutgers. He was one of the best running backs ever there. So, yeah, got it.
He was, for a while at least. Sooner in Texas, do you have any idea how suicidal you would have to be if you had a PhD in stats?
Yo, okay, check this out. So every WildUte University video I put out, I'll get like PhDs and stuff, just like reaching out saying, hey, you need to tweak this or tweak that. Look, I love it and everything. I love working with people that are like, know what they're doing, talented folks and everything, but he knows what he's doing, Dr. S and everything. And we're going to break this out. We'll show you exactly how we do it. Nobody else will show you how to do it. It's going to be right here. This analysis is probably worth like $100,000.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought we'd have to go to Utah.
We'll just do it with everybody.
Well, you and I
need to be a consultant. What am I doing, right?
You and I thought about, opening up a storage unit where we can start putting in our special videos that nobody else could see. Right here in Utah, we're going to do that.
I'm serious. This thing is going to be so gold.
You can see them. You can see them. You just have to fly to Utah, have somebody watch them, and make sure that you don't secretly record it with your phone.
You works at a bank, so he's going to give us one of those lock boxes we can put everything in.
We'll make sure we really button it up, behind the all members can watch it. That's where we're going to button up.
Yeah, regardless, what we're going to do is going to be something that's going to break the internet. Just letting everybody know.
No, it's things that other companies, media companies have done. It's the way they look at it, but it's like never been presented in a presentable manner for everybody else to look at and actually have access to. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to give it to the people.
Give it to the people. I love it. Give it to the people, baby. TF Williams. Says, I believe the ACC leadership is stuck in the good old boys past. There is no doubt about that. Have them call George Kliavkov. He can give you some pointers how to keep those conferences going. Anybody?
That was a
Nobody?
dig. Come on.
Nobody wants to say anything.
I still
Yeah,
don't think that anyone has ever seen George and Jim Phillips in the same room. So, like, I don't know.
Actually, okay, that's another good one, Rock. It's quite possible.
I ever tell you guys my George K story? Sorry,
do it right now. Sure. Why not?
He never gets brought up anymore. So a couple of years ago, when he took the job, I was at a Ute tailgate, like an alumni tailgate, and he and Mark Harlan were in house and stuff before the USC game. And I remember taking we were just drinking everything, just took a shot and everything with my boys. And then I looked over at George and I said, "We love you, George K." And he came over and we started chatting, man. And he was a really cool guy. And then, like, after he left and stuff, his wife came over to me and said how much she appreciated me giving him some, like, positive recognition. I'm serious. So the guy had a really hard time. So I've got a soft heart for George K. Super nice guy. He'll chat with anybody. He just had a tough go, but his wife knew how hard it was on this guy.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time. But just
wrong fit as well.
dude,
I don't
honestly.
think he should have been a conference commissioner. He wasn't equipped to do the job. I mean, look at Brett Yormark. He wasn't equipped. People thought he wasn't equipped because he was coming from the NBA, big media, and all these other things. How do you run a football conference? How do you run an athletic conference with only that media background? And yet, what has he done? He's gone from win to win to win to win to win. And the other guy who supposedly had all the backing of the betting sports industry ended up being probably the last two conference commissioners of the Pac-12 were probably the worst in conference commissioner history.
Larry Scott was the commissioner before George K.
Yeah.
And he blew up the Pac-12 by the wine and cheese club mentality, kind of like the ACC you see sometimes from the ACC.
Which is what we were just talking about.
Exactly. But Larry Scott put the Pac-12 in a position where USC felt like they needed to make a move because of media rights money and in not working out a deal with Comcast and stuff for the Pac-12 network. I just think George K was basically screwed when he took the job. That's my view of it, but it's done though. It's gone.
All right. We're going to wind down. We got a few more comments and we're going to get out of here. Friday night. Release people to go and do things with your family. We appreciate everybody being here tonight. Make sure you follow us all on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. It only takes a microsecond to click that button. Let's get through a few more comments and then we're going to sign out of here. We're going to start really quick. So rapid fire. Daniel Gygax says Jim Brown was at Syracuse. There you go. So Syracuse has.
Syracuse.
Yeah, there's a call out for Syracuse. Natural, by the way. Chad Bracey, another member, says George and Jim are the same man. I think that's what we were getting at. By the way, I did see him in the same picture when they got together to do what? Oh, what was that? The Alliance. What do you guys think about the Alliance? All right, we'll move right along.
Yeah, let's talk about, you know what? Oh my gosh. The next live show needs to be titled The Alliance, the aftermath of the Alliance, because look what freaking happened to all the partners of the Big Ten.
So let's do that on Tuesday.
Allies.
Man,
you're a bad partner.
Moen, just make the thumbnail Jim Phillips shaking his own hand and we'll be good.
Yeah. I'm serious. We need to get in a deep
The Alliance.
The Alliance.
All right. Just is so funny. Everybody else was laughing watching that. That was ridiculous. On a handshake, guys. That's how contracts are done. Clint Moses, a member, Oregon State guy, says Mafia whiskey bottle. That's a icon, right?
Yes.
With
emote.
Okay. All right, emote. That's what I mean.
He wants a good old Syracuse.
Syracuse or Georgia Tech is what you're fishing for there, Clint. Go ahead.
Man, I'm going to be hammered by the end of this show.
I know. We've had a lot today. MH5, basketball is paying for the NCAA. It keeps that organization going. I think that's what they were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The P4 needs to do a CFP-style payout structure for March Madness. The basketball unit payout structure is a joke. I can already tell you, MH5, Brett Yormark's way ahead of you. He's trying to do stuff like that. In fact, I would venture to guess if Brett Yormark took over the basketball tournament, within 5 years, it might be bigger than college football. That's how good he is at what he does. So, let's see. For the Big 12, it's a win. That's all I know. Last comment here from Illini Ted. Jim Phillips is like the meme of the dog drinking coffee while building burns around him, saying, "This is fine."
This is fine.
I need that. Where's Moen? Do you have that picture of that little girl with this evil smile sitting in front of her house burning to the ground?
Oh my!
You need to find that picture.
I don't.
Okay,
I'm
we'll have to
sorry,
find that.
but I can find the "This is fine" dog.
Okay, that'll work too. All right, we're gonna end the comments right there, guys. What an amazing show tonight! Another Friday party. We got up to 70 people watching this. I just want to set expectations. If people are looking and saying, "Hey, not a lot of people are watching live," let's think about the time we're in. Spring, it's beautiful everywhere, except for the southeast where there's terrible tornadoes. It seems like every week. We're just here having fun on Friday evening. So don't worry about it. These shows get out and all of you are being noticed. That's all I want to say. Everybody's watching your comments and being included and participating. We really appreciate. All right, Rock, we're going to sign out. What's your last take of the night to finish out the week?
Just looking forward to finding out more about EA game and paying attention next week on how crazy the reaction to the settlement turns out to be once everything's kind of done on schools that don't know how they can do it, even though they're obligated to pay for it, and what it does to them.
Very fair. Good for something to look forward to. Moen?
I am looking forward to sunshine, lollipops, rainbows, all those kind of things. But
okay.
Yeah, that's look. We're in a holding pattern. There's really nothing we can do but hold.
Hold them. There you go. I appreciate that. What's the update on Moen After Dark on Sunday night?
We'll be there this Sunday. I've got a special guest host. He's sitting right next to me at the camera.
Excellent. I got to tune in and watch.
Rock and Rant will be joining me this Sunday at 8 p.m. We'll be taking your questions, your comments, your queries, all of it.
Right here on the College Football Mafia Network. Very good.
Football Mafia Network.
Thank you. Ute.
Do you guys think that the Iowa Hawkeye logo kind of looks like it's got an evil eye a little bit?
Wow. Let's take a look and see. Let's see.
You guys mentioned like houses burning and everything. Look at that eye, man. Like, yeah. Anyway, that's the final thought of the day. This logo has always kind of troubled me a little bit. I mean, it's cool and everything, but that eye, the eye of the hawk.
Well,
like
I'm
the
sure
Lord of the Rings
go use
or something.
Right. Exactly. Sauron.
I think it's a Masonic symbol. I think it's a secret society symbol.
All right. We've already spent more time on Iowa this show than I think we have at any other point.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. So my final two things. Well, actually going to get a couple more comments and then my final word. Sergeant Pickles says, "Hey, Bomber, has the church changed the label on the collection bowls to Cougar NIL Fund yet?" Okay. It's a dig at BYU. No, the church doesn't pay any money for football. If they did, they would be as good as Ohio State, and they don't.
True.
So I promise you. In fact, it's pretty poor considering where we're at. But the NIL is growing, and no, it has nothing to do with the tithing collection bowl. We don't have a collection bowl, just so everybody knows. It's not how it's done. The other thing that I would say here is Becky Go Huskies says Georgia Tech and Syracuse. Let's finish it out right there. $2 super chat.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, Becky. Everybody have a great weekend. If you've been drinking, do not drive. Enjoy your family while the weather's nice. Get out and do stuff. Look for Moen After Dark on Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Big West Mafia, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Pickles, Becky, and who knows else. The next time I will see you is on Tuesday for the Big 12 Mafia show. I appreciate everybody being here. Be safe. Stay out of trouble. And go help your neighbor out. Mow their lawn or something. Do some service. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Peace.